Hello everyone, this is Cardmates, and today we're talking about bluffing. Bluffing is the most fun part of poker for some people, but for others, it's the most terrifying part. On the river, when the pot is at its biggest, it can be especially hard to pull the trigger. How about earning $5 to your Pokerstars account? 3 lucky players will win $5 each in our draw. To participate in the draw, players only need to leave their nickname on Pokerstars here in the comments for this video. Run to participate and good luck to everyone! But you can't let the fear of getting called deter you from bluffing the river altogether. In order to make as much money as possible, you need to have bluffs in your range on every street. In this video, I will share 3 tips that will improve your skill set when it comes to bluffing the river. I will address the issue from both a mental game and a strategic perspective. Mental aspects of river bluffing. Let's start by answering the following question. Why is bluffing the river so scary for most people? I believe that the river is the scariest street to bluff because there is no safety net. If you get caught, there are no more cards to come. You've run out of chances to improve your hand. I think it's this aspect, combined with the fact that most people are afraid of feeling exposed and of failing in general, that makes river bluffing so daunting. As human beings, this fear is embedded in us. Our species, as a whole, is risk-averse. It served us well for a long time in our history. If our ancestors had taken great risks too often, they would have had a very high chance of dying. It's our innate self-preservation instinct that steers us away from making big bluffs. But it's 2021. You'll not die if your bluff fails. You'll just feel bad. Until you won't. So don't be afraid. Internalize the 3 river bluffing tips that follow and prepare yourself to pull the trigger on your next game. Technical aspects of river bluffing. 3 tips. Now, let's talk about some technical aspects of bluffing. This is where I will share with you 3 tips that will help you bluff better on the river. Tip 1. Follow the minimum defense frequency concept. Minimum defense frequency is the fundamental concept on which bluffing, and notably river bluffing, is based on. Minimum defense frequency is based in basic mathematics, and it's actually a simple equation that looks like this. Risk divided by reward plus risk. Now, if the solution to this equation is lower than the actual frequency that your bluff will work, then you've made a profit. This is what we poker players call a plus EV, expected value bluff. Let's take an example. Let's say that the pot is 50 big blinds, and we bet 66% of the pot, and we expect the bluff to work 45% of the time. Using our formula from earlier, the math works out like this. 33 big blind divided by 50 big blind plus 33 big blind equals 0.397. We multiply that number by 100 in order to convert it to a frequency. 39.7%. That's the minimum defense frequency that our opponent must reach in order to deny us from generating profit with our bluffs. We know that our opponent is folding 45% of the time. Not to get too technical, but that's an immensely profitable bluff. Tip 2. Be mindful of blockers. Every other damn video you hear about these blockers. You know why? Because they matter. Yes, you may check your HUD or database and see that, on average, a spot is overfolded by a few percentages. Does that mean that all non-made hands should be bluffed? Nope. The cards you hold can have a significant impact on the actual folding frequency of your opponent. Having good blockers can mean your opponent will fold a couple of percentage points or more often, while having bad blockers can mean your opponent will call a bit more often. Let's take an example. Middle position opens to 2.5 big blinds, and you call in the big blind. The flop comes King 7-4. It goes check-check. The turn comes Queen. It goes check-check again. The river comes the 2, making the board King 7-4 Queen 2. This is the solver's solution in big blind shoes. The solver says that against a 66% pot bet, the player in middle position will fold on average 43.87%. If you remember from our previous tip, that means that it's a profitable bluff on average. If we look at the solver output, however, we see that a ton of hands without any showdown value, such as 10-9 suited, 10-8 suited, 9-8 suited, etc., are checking 100% of the time despite losing 100% of the time. But why? This happens because these combinations actually block the biggest part of the villain's folding range. Take a look at it here at 8-8, 10-10 and ace-8s and ace-10s. They represent the largest part of the middle position's folding range, thus blocking those hands will make your bluff less successful. Note, I confirm this by using the frequencies versus one combo option in the Pio solver, which shows that the opponent's folding frequency against 10-9, 10-8, 9-8 drops to almost exactly the MDF threshold. Tip 3. You're playing against a human, not a solver. We have to round up these tips with some exploitative considerations. River equilibrium strategies are extremely fragile, meaning the solver will make extreme adjustments based on slight changes to the inputs or situation. For example, having 2 bluff combos too many will shift the whole bluff catching strategy to become a calling frenzy. On the other hand, 2 bluff combos too few will make the solver go into a folding frenzy. The best players in the whole world are able to predict, more accurately than the rest, how their opponent will approach a given situation. This allows them to extract more chips out of the pots that they play. Wrapping up, I want to end this video with an unintuitive suggestion. Always have some bluffs in your range, even if you think your opponent will overcall. I know it's hard for timid bluffers to hear this, but you don't want to end up being seen as the table nit. You have to give action to get action. Well, that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed writing it. What's the biggest river bluff you've ever attempted? Let me know in the comments below. If you want to keep improving your poker skills, subscribe to my channel, Grinder. See you soon and good luck at the tables.